Okay. Now I'm very sure last time to the functions of the heart. We learned what the functions of the heart are. So what is the function of the heart? Maybe we start from there, then maybe we can move into details. What is the function of the heart? To pump blood. Okay. So the heart pumps the blood. Now, when the heart is pumping the blood, it has got that rhythmic kind of motion. Rhythmic motion as it is pumping the blood. I'm very sure you were able to feel the pulse as heart is pumping the blood. Now, Papa Pen on our chest, somewhere on the left side. Yeah, only somewhere somewhere. All right. So we can move from there. We want to know what the cardiac muscle does in order to help us pump the blood. So to run the muscle. Now, the cardiac muscle, when it pumps blood, it has got the following cycle. Okay, of 3 stages. You can look at this paper here. Open up left. All right, so I hope everyone is there. All right, so the cardiac cycle consists of 3 stages. The first one, as it is pumping blood, there is the atrial systole. Are we together? Yes. So the atrial systole. Now the atrial systole, this is where you find that the atria are contracting. Do you know what the atria are? The part of the heart called the atria. Or the, what do we call those? Atriums. I don't know if people can see here, but I'll be showing you just about the points. There are those chambers on top. They're the ones I'm talking about. Yeah, so during the cardiac cycle, the first thing that is happening here is the atrial systole. Now, when we say systole, we mean they are contracted because they want to push blood from the arteries, from the atriums. The blood is going to go into the water, the ventricles. Are we together? Now, it's both atriums are already pumping our blood. They are contracted, both of them, the one on the left, also the one on the right. Are we together? The main aim is to take blood from the atriums. It is taking the blood where? To the ventricles, down here on these chambers that are down. So this is the reason why we are saying atria. Where you see atria, them are arteries. This is a plural for atrium. So they contract, both of them, while the ventricles do what? They relax. Why? If they are going to contract at the same time, you will find that the blood is going to go nowhere. Are we together? These have to contract in order to push the blood from the top chambers here to the bottom chambers down. Are we together? So that at least these will relax as they are receiving blood, the ventricles. Now we also have the bicuspid and the tricuspid valves. I don't know if you people remember, if it were me teaching you, I think I showed you the classes na later. The bicuspid valve and the tricuspid valve. The tricuspid valve is this one here on my right. Are we together? Then the bicuspid are valves on the left. Okay. So these two are open. Why are they open? To allow blood to flow from the atriums to go into the ventricles. Are we together? That's the reason why they're open. The semilunar valves, not Quatama semilunar valves. On the heart, there are 2 valves on the middle part. Are we together? Those are known as the semilunar valves. Of course, the one here on my right is called the pulmonary semilunar valve. This other one is known as the aortic semilunar valves. But bottom line is that they're all semilunar valves. Now, if blood is going into the ventricles, then you expect the semilunar valves to be closed. Why? Because blood has to go into the ventricles first. Are we together? So they are closed. So later they're open. The bicuspid and tricuspid valves are open. These are closed. Now, how is blood moving? Like I said, blood is moving from the atria to the ventricles. Are we together? Yes. So that's about the atrial system. The heart is still pumping blood. So the first thing that will happen here, after this has happened, there will be a pause. There's a slight pause. Are we together? Then there will be a ventricular systole. It's the one that will come next. Now, during the ventricular systole, so when they say ventricular, it means the veins are the ventricles are the ones now pumping the blood. Are we together? So what's going to happen here is that the arteries are going to relax. It will just do the opposite of what happened here. Atlas are relaxed. Now this time around it's the arteries that are relaxing because blood has left the arteries. Are we together? Yes. Now the ventricles are the one pumping blood. So because they're the ones pumping blood, they have to contract. The muscles have to contract to force the blood out from the ventricles into the arteries. Are we together? So they'll contract. The bicuspid and tricuspid valves, but first they have to open. Okay, because they are allowing blood to move from the atria to the ventricles. What do you expect this time? To prevent backflow, they have to close, isn't it? To prevent the backflow of blood, they have to close so that at least the blood cannot go back where it's coming from. Are we together? So this time around they will be closed. Bicuspid and tricuspid. They will close so that the blood can go through the arteries. Now all these are closed. The semilunar valves, the lumbar valves, they are packed in the middle of the heart. Okay, they'll open to allow blood to move from the ventricles to the arteries. Are we together? So the flow of blood is what I've just mentioned, from the ventricles to the arteries. Have you understood on this one? Or maybe there are some people at the end. Okay. Or maybe what I'll do so that I cannot leave the stage. Alright, so we can move here. Alright, we can go to the diastole. Now the diastole will be the last stage. I'll come through so that maybe I can explain for those that are there after the video. Okay, so the diastole. Now the diastole is the last cycle. Now in this cycle, you expect these to be relaxed. The arteries and the ventricles. Why? Because blood has now finally left the heart. Are we together? So during the diastole, there is no pumping of blood by the heart, so they will be relaxed. And now these, the tricuspid and bicuspid valves, they will be open because they want the next cycle of pumping blood to continue. So because the next cycle is about to start, the tricuspid and bicuspid, valves, okay, they will now be open. Are we together? They will now be open so that they can allow blood to move from the arteries to the ventricles. These the semilunar valves will be closed because blood is just entering the arteries. Are we together? So they will be closed. Then we expect the blood flow to move from the veins into the arteries. Are we together? Blood will be moving from the veins into the arteries. So that's the cycle that we have for the pumping of blood. That's what the cardiac muscle does. Are we together? In just one pulse, it is doing all that. In just one pulse, it does all that. All right. So the next thing here to look at is the heartbeat and the pulse rate. The heartbeat and the pulse rate. But before I can continue, I just invite in some questions. These are vowels. Have you seen why they are? Okay. All right. So any questions? Are there any questions? Video karata ni kwa mwana. Mama bundles mwana zoksa down. Mwana pofa pali ama masenilo na vowels. Okay. All right. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do after the lesson, let Mr. explain the problem. All right. Okay. So we can continue. Heartbeat and pulse rate. I want people that have got this paper to go to where it is. Now, I'm going to take up the heartbeat and pulse rate. Yes. Okay, so the cardiac muscle that makes up the heart can beat itself, can beat by itself. The nodes made up of the nerves, such as the sinoatria node and the anteroventricular node, regulate the contractions of the heart, known as the heartbeat. The nodes cause the contractions from the bottom of the heart to the top of the heart. Now, don't worry about whatever they've written there. I'm going to explain it. Yes. Okay, so this causes the heart to beat as a unit. This is an involuntary muscle action. Alright, so here's what they're saying. They're saying the cardiac muscle can beat by itself. When it does that, it's an involuntary, okay, muscle action. That's what you just have to know. That's what they're saying there. Are we together? Yes. When they say involuntary, we don't make it do it, do the beating. Are we together? We don't do that. So involuntary means it just happens by itself. Right? For example, the way you blink your eyes. Do you tell your eyes to blink at a certain point? No. Okay, so most of the times we just blink. Right? Yes. Involuntary action. That's what they mean there. Okay. Notes. Okay, we'll talk about them, especially when we come to the lymphatic system. Okay, I don't like to discuss. All right. So we can move. Now, the heart rate is the speed of the heartbeat and is measured in beats per minute. The heart pumps about 6,000 liters of blood a day. That does not mean that we have 6,000 liters of blood in our system. Another human being has got how many liters of blood? 5 liters. Eh? No, but remember, the blood is passing through the heart every time. Are we together? It's passing through the heart. So kuti ayoko, but again at some point. Eh? Then it will be what pumped by the heart. Are we together? So that's why we learn that 6,000 liters, the same blood, 5 liters here, but it's still passing through the heart. Are we together? All right. So an artery expands when the heart beats and contracts when the heart relaxes. An artery expands when the heart beats and contracts when the heart relaxes. Remember, we are just from talking about what happens when the heart is pumping blood. Are we together? And then I mentioned that sometimes we're able to feel a pulse on certain parts of our body. So this is why it's very, very common. If people can touch here, you'll feel that pulse. So that pulse is as a result of the heart beating. Are we together? So as it is beating, okay, it's pumping blood. Are we together? Yes. That pulse is what we are feeling as a result. Are we together? Yes. It's just the expansion and contraction of the arteries as the heart is beating. Are we together? Yes. Okay, so with each beat of the ventricle, the left ventricle, a pressure wave runs through the arteries. This is called a pulse. So you're playing for your understanding the pulse. It's not that beat. We're feeling what? A pulse. Okay, a pressure wave. Yeah, they will move at almost the same rate with the heart. That's the reason why you're flicking the heartbeat, pulse rate. Are we together? What we are feeling there is a pulse. A wave of blood as it is being pumped from the heart. Are we together? And I'm going to put more forward and put more on the side of the neck. Yes, it's a pulse. Are we together? Now, the heartbeat is just a number of beats per minute. Or should we say the heart rate is a number of heartbeats per minute. The heartbeat is just the muscle, the cardiac muscle contracting and relaxing as it is pumping the blood. You remember what we were saying on the cardiac cycle? Yeah. All right. Now you can measure the heart rate by measuring your pulse rate. Now you put the random. I want people to focus here. All right. So we are saying when the heart beats, okay, we can measure the heartbeat by looking at the pulse rate. Okay. If you touch here, you're able to count those pulses, isn't it? Now, in 1 minute. Most of you will be able to count the pulse rate. Are we together? Yes. So the heartbeat can be measured using the pulse rate. Are we together? They are very much related. Because when the heart is beating, it's what is causing what? The pulse. Are we together?
Yes.
So they are very much related. I don't know if I'm slowly answering your question.
Yes.
Okay. So each pulse is one rhythmical expansion and contraction of what? The arteries. Are we together? Each pulse is one rhythmical expansion and contraction of the arteries. Now, this expansion is caused by the heart pumping blood from the arteries. Sorry, through the arteries. You can feel your pulse in any artery that lies close to your body surface by compressing it against the bone. Now, an easy way to do this is by pressing your two fingers, these fingers, okay, on the side, on the inside of the wrist, on the thumb side, and count the number of heartbeats per minute. So anyway, so apart all panga ko first fena nine. Kala Africa experiment. Here's what we are going to do. Okay, so I want people to touch this side. Obvious. Are you able to feel the pulse?
Yes.
Is everyone able to feel the pulse? Just by the show of hands. Nelly there. Are you able to feel the pulse? Okay, so Nala niwa pa kwambo kupenda mapulse sign. All right. So you can start. As you are counting, I'll tell you when to stop. Okay, so you can stop. Okay, so now I'm fine. How many pulses did you count? Maybe the midterm.
22.
22.
72.
72. How many? 75. Bandit?
62.
Settle?
58.
58.
78.
78. Okay. No, there's no problem. Okay. So what went to the work for fine? Put it there, so you won't over. Listen. Okay. So double quickly. So here, the number of pulses that a normal human being is supposed to feel when they are relaxed is somewhere between 72 to 75. But it's fine, number 78. It's a pretty problem. All right. So anyway, so in short, what they've just said about the heart beating, okay, before that causes coronary heart diseases. We are just from talking about what the cardiac muscle does, okay, in helping the heart to pump blood. Are we together? When they say cardiac, by the way, they mean the muscle that is just around the heart. Are we together?
Yes.
What cardiac disease? It's something to do with what? The heart. Are we together? Yeah, so cardiac has something to do with the heart. Now, the cardiac muscle is helping the blood to pump the blood. Okay? It does this circle. Okay? The cardiac muscle helps the heart to pump the blood. All right, so anyway. So we are saying, ise kwe atlashtika hapa. Inchi baba mwa mwana mshalila kutola ikala panchi tola kita. So ise kwe atlashtika hapa. Okay?
Yes.
The heart is doing this cycle about 72 times, okay, per minute, okay, but between 72 to 75 times per minute. Are we together? So in short, to ambox revise or about 9. I hope nam shamwe book nam monapa belera masemiro na mashal. So I'm not going to the point to this side. Either atrial or systole. Okay. You remember where the atriums are? The alarm atriums, yet likes to contract, meaning they were forcing blood to move from those top chambers to go to the bottom chambers. The ventricles, those bottom chambers, the right and shine, they were being relaxed because they were receiving blood from what? The arteries. So the atriums. Are we together? I am a bicuspid, nama tricuspid valves. Yala ba kumbali swama valves. I matiamona la didalisa point like this. Those were opening to allow blood to move from the atriums. Are we together? To the ventricles. Here, the semilunar valves, the large packet, Natranda trim oxide near aortic. The other one was the pulmonary semilunar valve. So those were closing. Why? Because they didn't want blood to move from the atriums direct straight into the arteries. Are we together? It's the reason why they were closed, the large packet. Now, blood was moving from the arteries to the ventricles. This is just one of the sides. Okay? Now, within a split second, in short, less than a second, the ventricular systole will come in. Apanish pariko pause. I can't want to pause. Again, in a nanosecond, should we say. So your ventricular systole, the atriums will be relaxed because blood has left them. Okay? The ventricles, the bottom chambers, they will now contract, forcing the blood from them to the arteries. Are we together? I am a bicuspid, not tricuspid valves. They will now close. Why are they closing? The duty of the valves is to prevent the backflow of what? Blood. So that it's the reason why they were closed. Are we together? Yes. They have to open because blood is now leaving the ventricles, going to the arteries, not so. Yeah, so if they stick up, then we have this flow of blood. I've already mentioned it, so I'm not going to waste time there. The last one was a diastole. Now remember, in the diastole, blood has just left the ventricles. So what should you expect? The arteries will be relaxed because there is no heart in the blood, not so. The ventricles are also going to be, there's no blood in the heart. All right, so the ventricles, they'll also be relaxed. Are we together? Again, there is no heart in the water, so there's no blood in the heart. All right. The bicuspid and tricuspid valves, these are going to open. Okay, are we together? Because they're waiting for the next cycle of blood to come into the heart. Are we together? The next thing is that the semilunar valves, because blood has just left the heart. To prevent that blood which has left the heart to flow back into the heart, these have to what? Close. Are we together? Then the last part now, we are just explaining the flow of blood. It is moving from the veins into what? The arteries. Are we together? So apaka tushinga machita understand. Lepo kusela ponde yako kuli nani? All right. Okay, so we can move to the causes of the coronary heart disease. Coronary heart disease, the causes. Are people there on the right side? Okay, so the causes of coronary heart disease. Now, coronary heart disease is a disease of blood vessels supplying the heart muscle. So the coronary heart disease is a disease of the blood vessels supplying the heart muscle, which is part of the blood or group disorders known as cardiovascular diseases. Now, coronary heart disease is one of the most common effects of aging. In short, Valeranda the coronary heart disease. The disease is start affecting our blood vessels. Do you know what blood vessels are? The tubes where the blood runs. And we said there were 3 of them. We have got the first one, the ventricle, the veins. The next one, we've got the arteries. Now the last one is the capillaries. When these are affected, we call that disease the coronary heart disease. Are we together? Now, most of the times, it comes as a result of what? Aging. Are we together? Coronary heart disease. Now, over time, cholesterol and fatty materials accumulate in the walls of the arteries. Cholesterol is a waxy fatty-like material that is found in all parts of the body. It comes from two sources. Our liver produces it, and we consume it in meat and dairy products. Now, cholesterol is only found in food from animals, not in plants. So now you cholesterol and fatty acids. Okay, gamaleda sana fiama fats. Are we together? Those are going to make the fat to accumulate in the blood system. Are we together? Now, when they accumulate, they are also going to cause the heart disease that we have there. Coronary heart disease. So anyway, we can talk about the fat deposits. Now, we've been told where fats come from. The liver is making them, as well as the fats from animals. Those, they contain a lot of what? Fats. Are we together? Now, those can lead to none. Especially about the masana you'll find that those are not very healthy. So making sure what roast. Are we together? So I to drain a lot of fats from them. Now, fatty deposits, known as plaques, they build up in the blood vessel was narrow the passageway for the movement of blood. Have you heard? When the fats enter the blood system, what are they doing? In the vessels, they are accumulating, so they are making the blood vessels to be very small. Are we together? If you remember blood vessels, we tried to describe the blood vessels. Even the diagrams, I think I must have showed you. Somewhere just the middle parts of the blood vessels. Yeah. Okay, so the lumen. The lumen is a tube where blood passes. I don't know if people are able to see from as far as
Yes.
Are people able to see?
Yes.
All right. So apoka kashan kalumen. Lepta blood. Now it becomes very narrow if at all there is what? There is a lot of fatty deposits in the blood. Are we together?
Yes. All
right. Okay, so we are saying it becomes very narrow if at all there is a lot of fat. Are we together? So blood pita. By the way, if you remember on the arteries, we tried to describe, we're saying the arteries have got a very small lumen. Are we together? No manga for fats. How is blood going to move? Becomes very easy, very difficult. Jomba blood. Therefore, blocked. Are we together?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's going to be happening. So the resulting condition called atherosclerosis. Okay. Often leads to blockage of what? Of the coronary arteries and the heart attack. Are we together?
Yes.
So there's going to be a coronary disease and also heart attack as a result of that condition.
Yes.
Now that condition has got the following effects. I learned again. Number one, the walls of blood vessels thicken. Okay? The walls of the blood vessels do what? They thicken. The cavity narrows and reduces the flow of water, blood to the tissues. The chance of blood clots forming in the arteries increases. What is blood clotting? We are saying when blood clots forms those forming a mesh. Are we together? So they're forming a man. Are we together? Now the chance of blood clotting forming those increases. Why? Because there's a lot of fats. So it's going to be forming what? Clots. Are we together? Inside the tubes. Alright, so the walls of blood vessels become less elastic, increasing the chance of blockages and the heart attacks. Are we together? So there's two things that are happening there. Number one, we are saying the blood vessels thicken because there's a lot of fats. Are we together? Number two, we are saying there's blood clots that are forming there. And then number three, Remember, the walls of arteries are able to expand, isn't it? Because we said they were elastic. You remember? So they cannot expand anymore because they've already thickened. Are we together? Blood is not going to be able to pass, and they're going to have what we call the heart attack. Are we together? Let's speak after. Now, risk factors for cardiovascular disease. There are many factors that contribute to the development of cardiovascular diseases. Number one, a diet high in animal fats and low in fiber. A diet very rich in animal fats, but low in what? Fiber. By the way, I've already explained where animal fats come from, kinds of food. Now, where does fiber come from? Plants, So I'm vegetables. There are some people that like eating a lot of fats, but vegetables are not fats. Or vegetables. I'm vegetables, because they'll give you fiber. Are we together?
Yes.
And that fiber will reduce the chance of you having a heart attack. Okay, lack of exercise. There are some people that are obese. Okay, but then I'm exercise to have fats. Okay, so you are going to have a lot of fats in your body. Are we together? So if you are obese, the best way is to do some exercise. Are we together? Okay. We've already talked about obesity. The next one, excessive stress. There are some people, then they put themselves in a situation where they have a lot of stress, thinking a lot. Okay, I'm at break. If you feel safe, when you do that, again, there's a lot of chance of getting a heart attack. Cigarette smoking and excessive inhalation of pollution. Okay, cigarette smoking. Excessive inhalation of pollution, all those things, they can lead to what? To cardiovascular diseases. High blood pressure. So BP, high blood pressure. So not low blood pressure. In this case, we are talking about high blood pressure. Genetic tendencies. Now, when they say genetic tendencies, they are talking about conditions we inherit from our parents. For example, if your father or grandfather had a heart attack at a fairly young age, it's very possible that my mama could have a heart attack. Are we together? So, through genetics, I'm very sure, obviously, there are some genes that we inherit from them, which are part of these things. So maybe when we reach genetics, we'll come and explain it. What we study there, we'll come and explain that in detail. It's no problem. Yeah? Okay. Chop. Okay, we move. Huh? All right. Okay, so what is coronary heart disease? Are there any questions based on how we get the disease, as well as maybe? Sorry. Are there any questions on the coronary heart diseases? Yes? No. Now to start advice. The first thing to prevent such situations from happening, heart attack, heart diseases. The first thing that we are supposed to do is to avoid. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is to avoid a diet rich in animal fat. Are we together? So we avoid that a lot. Number two, we have to at least be taking things that have got fiber. In as much as at least meat, but at least they are also having some vegetables on the side. Are we together? Vegetables. But they are such a face to side to come vegetables. So we avoid that because fiber helps with what? With preventing these coronary heart diseases. Are we together? So hello, para risk factors. Have you seen them? So for us to avoid the heart diseases, we avoid such. The next thing, lack of exercise. If we don't exercise, then we are increasing the chances of us having what? Heart diseases. Are we together? Yes. So to prevent that, we have to do what? Exercise. In developed countries, you'll find that exercise is not leisure. Oh no, abantu have the leisure. Okay, I'm sure it's very expensive. 500 kwacha just go and lift the metals. So, but it's very healthy at the same time. At least, okay, at least ngatsikinga tamange. Tatengako to my rail lines. My rail lines. We are supposed to be lifting those things at least, or maybe to Aisha to fine. Are we together? So the next thing, cigarette smoking. So we have to avoid cigarette smoke. Now, we avoid because we can smoke passively. Yeah, but you move away when they are smoking. If you are around, you're increasing the chances passively or actively. You're smoking. Yes, true. Do you sleep in the same room? No, you don't.
But they do it in the sitting room.
Yeah, are you in the sitting room at night, late in the night?
So when you are smoking, you can get 75%.
The person also can't.
You're not smoking. When you're
All
not
right.
smoking.
Okay. So listen. If you have Panama genetic diseases, thing is we cannot avoid them. Are we together? But at least people from Opamura doing to avoid. Okay. There are some places, Kuma industries. There are some people who work Kuma industries. Okay, but now we cannot really so much avoid because maybe some people are working with that. I remember somewhere in Chingola, there should be a place they call Tabaya Chingola in Namush, right? It produces a lot of stuff. If you live around those premises, obviously it's very, very difficult for you to avoid that. So there now the government comes in, eh? But then common policies no so reduce the output of a lot of fuel and gases. Are we together? So they try. When level is there's some things that we can do. Then there's also on another level where the government can come in. Are we together?
Yes.
So I hope we gotten the idea of how we can prevent cardiovascular diseases.
Yes.
Okay. So now I think we can move from there, so at least we share body in diagram here. We were supposed to do this in the afternoon, but I'm looking at time and this is so then you can do other things. Don't look at this diagram and this diagram and think maybe they're different. No, it's one thing. Are we together? It's just one thing. Okay. All right. So let's focus on it. Now remember, we mentioned that. So we mentioned that the circulatory system was comprised of what? The cardiovascular system, something that has to do with how the blood is moving in our blood vessels. Then we also mentioned that there was a lymphatic system. Now don't worry about the lymphatic system. That one leaf is going to explain everything on the lymphatic system. This is the reason why I'm saying we can do this now. So when the lymphatic system, we said, was cleaning our organs. Are we together? It was washing our organs. If you remember the first time that we were doing the circulatory system, we must have mentioned that among invertebrates, they are washed by blood directly. Are we together? I don't know if you remember that on the open circulatory system. Okay? Yeah, some that were not there, you don't remember all this. Yeah, so we said the open circulatory system in the invertebrates, some mollusks and arthropods, they are washed the organs are washed directly by blood. I don't know if you people remember that. Then we also mentioned that in the closed circulatory system, that's something that has to do with vertebrates. Okay? Mammals, reptiles, amphibians, birds, and what? Fish. So these things are vertebrates. So their organs are not washed directly by what? Blood. Are we together? Then it has to do with the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system. I'll be quick on this one. Then we'll come to this. These are just coming from exam papers. That's the reason I'm saying they are just one and the same thing. All right. So if you go to your diagram there, you can see a human being, eh? With the lymphatic vessels there. Iotema arteries. At the same time, they're not veins, eh? Or capillaries. They're just lymphatic water vessels. Are we together?
Yes.
Now, this is a transport and defense system made up of the following components. The first one, the lymphatic vessels. Now, this is a network of vessels that have blind ends in the tissue. It's a network of vessels that have got blind ends in the tissue. Now, come on, location like a lymphatic vessel. This can show. Have you seen that it's closed this side?
Yes.
The side is closed, the side is closed. So this is the reason why they're saying it's got blind ends. When they say blind ends, they quite affiliate monoxide to have quite damage. Are we together?
Yes.
It's just that they are closed. They don't have any opening this side. Are we together?
Yes.
That's what it means. It's also comprised of a fluid called the lymph. So mukati umuso muli fluid. Nami mwana ile malika fluid mukati. It's called what? The lymph. It's derived from the tissue fluid, but having more glycerol, fatty acids, white blood cells, antibodies, and antitoxins than tissue fluid. Are we together? It's also comprised of glands and organs such as the spleen, adenoids, tonsils, thymus, lymph nodes, and appendix. I don't know if you can go the diagram up, but I'm sure you can see the spleen in the middle. Apaso somewhere. Now look at spleen. Diaphragm, but punch up the spleen. Are you able to see the spleen?
Yes.
Just look on it. You will see where the spleen is. Then click on the nodes. I don't know if you can see the nodes. I think auxiliary node, cervical nodes. I don't know if you can see those.
Yes.
Remember, when we are talking about the production of blood cells, I don't know if you remember, from blood cells, we said the white blood cells, apart from coming from the bones, they also come from what? The nodes. I don't know if people remember that, the lymph nodes. How many people remember what we talked about? How white blood cells are made, red blood cells, then also the platelets. Why do you call bones or something? Why is a book? Kindly ask for a book. You remember this? Or maybe it wasn't discussed with you. It was not with you. Okay, now let's tap over. Inside here, we've got what we call the red bone marrow. Now I'll give you. Okay, so the red bone marrow produces one type of a cell called the multipotent cell. I don't know how many people remember this, but those that learned this with me, I should have explained this. The red bone marrow is able to produce one type of a cell called the multipotent cell. Are we together?
Yes.
Now, this multipotent cell will divide itself and make any of these three types of cells. The white blood cell, the red blood cell, as well as what? The platelets. Are we together? It can make any of them. Okay. Now, we also explained, we explained that the white blood cells do not only come from the lymph nodes. So do not only come from the red bone marrow. They can also come from the lymph nodes. I don't know if people remember that. So our lymph nodes, auxiliary nodes, cervical nodes, I think yeah. It's a reason why they're saying the lymphatic system is also the defense mechanism because it's making what? The white blood cells, the leukocytes. Are we together? They are being made up by the lymph nodes. All right. Now we are saying the largest organ in the lymphatic of the lymphatic organ is the spleen. Now we want to spleen. The thymus is a gland located on top of the heart. I don't know if people can see the thymus. So the thymus is a gland located on top of the heart and is large in infants, meaning it's large, but it keeps getting smaller and eventually degenerates during the early childhood. Are we together? cardiac calista grows smaller, and then it eventually disappears. Are we together? The smallest vessels of the lymphatic system are called the lymphatic capillaries. Are we together? So, kind of lymphatic vessel, lymphatic capillaries. Are we together? Not lymphatic capillaries. From the north, let's branch into lymphatic vessels. Go on any of the nodes. Lymphatic vessels are lymphatic vessels. I don't know if you can see them. Now, they further branch into lymphatic capillaries. Are we together? Morning. Arteries. Okay. They are coming from the main artery called the aorta. Then, aorta is branch into the arteries. The arteries are then branching into smaller arteries, what we are calling the arterioles. Are we together? That's how it's made. Are we together? Now, it's the same thing here. The lymphatic vessels, those that are coming from the lymph nodes, okay, they are branching into smaller lymphatic vessels called the lymphatic capillaries. Are we together? All right. Okay. We are saying the smallest vessels of the lymphatic system are called the lymphatic capillaries and lacteals in the villi of the small intestines. Now, the small vessels join up to form bigger vessels called the lymphatics. Or if you don't want to call them the lymphatics, you can say the lymphatic vessels. Now, the lymphatics join up repeatedly to make bigger lymphatic vessels. The biggest lymphatic vessel is called, supposed to be thoracic ducts. Are we together? It's supposed to be thoracic, thoracic ducts. Are we together? That's the biggest lymphatic vessels. Now, each thoracic duct drains lymph into a subclavian vein near the junction of the neck and the arm. The two prominent features along the lymph vessels are the valves and the lymph nodes. The valves keep the lymph flowing in one direction. So, mukati muli ayama nani? Muli ayama lymphatic vessels. Mwali watuma valves. Nakela maybe the bitu masanga bituriso. Depending on where they want this tube to go. Tunabakoso mukati. Are we together? When you see something like this, just know here we're talking about the valves. The duty of the valves, like what we explained on the circulatory system, was to prevent the backflow of a fluid. The fluid can be blood or it can be the lymphatic fluid. So for the valves. Okay, so the flow of lymph is assisted by the contraction of muscles and breathing movements of the thorax and the abdomen. The lymph nodes are important in the following ways. Number one, they produce and store lymphocytes. Remember what I just mentioned, I was saying the white blood cells are not only produced by the red bone marrow. They are also made by what? The lymph nodes. Are we together? So they produce and store the white blood cells, which are called the lymphocytes, which are added to the lymph as it passes through on its way to the subclavian vein. They filter foreign bodies, bacteria, and dead tissue from the lymph before it joins the blood. Now, this lymph is able to join the blood. The fluid that is found inside here is able to join water, the blood. Are we together? Now, before it can join the blood, these lymphatic vessels are very important because they will be able to drain the bacteria as well as dead body cells. Are we together? Don't say if you have mammo before the lymph can join the blood. They become very active when the body is invaded by foreign bodies because they are producing lymphocytes, becoming swollen and tender in the process. Because they are producing lymphocytes, there is some moneka swollen. Are we together? There is why the molecular swollen up. Their duty is to produce what? Lymphocytes. So when your body is attacked by a foreign bacteria, okay, the lymph nodes will become swollen because they are very active at that moment. They are producing what? The lymphocytes. Are we together? To go and fight those bacteria. The functions of the lymphatic system may be summarized as follows. Number 1, it drains excess tissue fluid and takes it back to the blood. It adds lymphocytes to the blood. Number 3, it absorbs and transports cholesterol, fatty acids, and glycerol to the blood. Okay. Akupende fa, therefore first to mone wuno wino na. I have my questions there. Then I will try to explain what is happening there. Okay, so the first thing, we're going to start with this one here. What you see here are body tissues. Okay, what you see here is a body tissue. Are we together? Okay, close that door for me. Okay, so what you see here is a body tissue. Now, if you remember grade 10 work, grade 11 work. If you remember grade 10 work, just on the cells, after the cells, we talked about cell organization. Okay. After cell specialization, if you're sedated their cells, you remember those things, eh? Now, after that part, we talked about cell organization. Now, we are saying the cell is the basic unit of a living thing. A group of cells with similar structure and function makes up what we call what? A tissue. A group of cells that have got a similar structure. Are we together? Then they've got the same function. They are making what we call a tissue. So, that's what a tissue. Are we together? We have got cells that are similar. Okay, and they've got the similar structures and functions. So, body tissues, just think of it in terms of what? Cells. Yes. So they could say cells or they could say body tissue. Bottom line is think of what? Cells. All right. Now, the structure shows the relationship between the blood, the tissue fluid, cells, and the lymph. I'm very sure you can see some of these things I've mentioned there. But the cells, the lymph, the tissue fluid. Now from there, the first thing that they're asking, they're saying identify the structures U and T. Therefore, I'm going to feel connected. Fuel circulatory system. Remember, this blood here is bringing blood to this vessel is bringing blood to the tissue. Are we together?
Yes.
This vessel is taking blood away from what? The tissue. Pakata. Not quite definitely to join a vessel, may vessel side. If you remember on the blood vessels, which blood vessel gets blood from the heart and takes it to the body cells? Is it the arteries or is it the veins? The veins. Aye, je pas more specific at all pa mwona nishana. Ile ndefu afitulande pa 53. The veins, capillaries, and arteries. Now I'm saying which vessel takes blood from the heart to the body cells? Not to guess. Ile send the blood ukufuma kuli heart ile twala kuma body cells. Serious? Okay, I'll try to do this. Maybe to remind people. Then I can draw a diagram. This is the body. This is the heart. This is the lungs. Then I don't know if it's this class, but I think I must have drawn this. Yeah. All right. So what's something another? This is the heart. This is the lungs. This is the body. I don't want to waste so much time. All right. Someone in number. Now we are talking about the heart and the vessel that is taking blood to the body cells. This vessel, is it an artery or is it a vein?
Which one?
It's a vein.
It's an artery.
Okay, it's an artery. Thank you so much. At last. All right, so listen. This vessel is bringing blood to the body. Are we together? It's not always in biology that they draw these diagrams. It's not going to be always that they will draw this exact thing. Sometimes people are later, drawing but the bottom line is you have to understand what's happening. The blood is coming from the heart. Now we can have a direction come blood. Obviously, they're from above. Are we together? So this is the tissue which is not being represented here by body. Are we together? Because our body is made up of cells, not so.
Yes.
Blood therefore. The arteries. These to be specific. Are they carrying blood that contains oxygen? Or are they containing blood? Are they carrying blood containing carbon dioxide?
Oxygen.
Oxygen, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. Are they carrying blood containing nutrients or not?
Yes.
Nutrients, because in the blood plasma we find nutrients, not so. When the blood plasma, when you have glucose, you have digestion. Digestion, you have absorption. Obviously, those nutrients will be absorbed into the blood system, isn't it? So, more nutrients. Okay, so here they're saying identify the structures U and T. Obviously, this one, where is T? T here, behind.
Yes.
Obviously, we do understand that this structure here is the vein because the human one that matters, right? Yeah, later blood. Obviously, this will be what? The veins. So, apana last how many people have got diaphragm? Yeah, biology. Mami tamko ita diaphragm. Yeah, paper 2. Ganam ko ita diaphragm. The family of paper 101. Nila siya po anji ko nyomba biology de lo biology.
Guys, if someone having like a doctor, call what virtual.
You call him the relation?
Virtual.
Oh, I don't expect the one. This one. 101. Paper 2, page 101. Okay, I don't think that it's very difficult. So you we are saying it's going to be the lymphatic vessel. Are we together? Because you can see there that they've mentioned that lymphatic. So this is obviously a lymphatic vessel. Human lymphatic vessels, in the lymph fluid. This one here is supposed to be a vein, eh? So veins. Now, R is supposed to be what? Before the Torah R is supposed to be arteries. They're the ones bringing blood because now we cut blood. So they're the ones bringing blood to the body cells. So it's as simple as that. We go to the next part. Now they're saying name one nutrient represented by S. Whichever nutrients in Shasam, blood, the ones that go into the body cells.
Glucose.
Thank you so much, glucose. So the nutrient here, diffusing from S, are we together? Into the blood cells is glucose. So papa number 2, if we have a glucose. Are we together? Part B, B1. B1 is supposed to be glucose. What other nutrients can you think of? Apart from glucose, there are some nutrients and they have mamu blood in cells. Okay. Amino acids, eh? Amino acids are also found in blood, they go in the body cells. Alright. Compare the blood pressure at R to that at T and give a reason for your answer. Nekwisoko yako lapo pressure. Bali ukuno. Because these are coming straight from the heart. Are we together?
Yes.
So they will be pumping blood, they will be carrying blood at a very high pressure. Are we together?
Yes.
So blood is at high pressure. These are carrying blood away from the body cells back to what? The heart. So these are taking blood back to the heart. Now we said the veins carry blood at what? Low pressure. Are we together? If I say give a reason for your answer, just say the arteries carry blood from the heart. Are we together? The arteries carry blood from the heart. A reason if we have a punch up.
Yeah?
Okay. Twambamo, therefore abantu mumeko serious for tulepa. Number one. Number one. Yo natulanda tionisha malymphatic vessels.
Yes.
T natulanda tionisha veins. S tulandira to them the one nutrient represented by S. We said glucose.
Yes.
Then we also said that if you don't want to say glucose, you can say amino acids. Then I said they're talking about the blood pressure, R and the T. We compare the blood pressure. We are saying okuku R because these are arteries. Artery from the heart. Remember the heart pumps blood, right? So it is going to be moving at a high pressure because it has been pumped. Are we together?
Yes.
They have come more body cells. More body cells. These body cells are not pumping blood. So the blood this side will be at a low pressure. Are we together?
They are removing blood.
Okay. They're getting blood from the body cells. Yes. Blood directly from the body cells. They're waking up for the heart. So they're not carrying blood at a high pressure. How about the class? All right. So one for you to this compare.
Yes.
Now the reason I've already given a reason.
Yes.
The reason we said the arteries, all arteries carry blood from the heart. So here is an artery. This one is also an artery. They carry blood straight from the heart. Are we together? Okay. So you I'm sure not to share with you. Therefore, today I'm going to paper one. The question is. Okay, 35. Just the last part. 35. All of you. Younger mind when I'm going to win your question in the multiple choice. So they come off a question. It's not so much. Page 35. Are you there?
Here, there.
Okay. The question there says the diagram represents the tissue with an adjacent capillary. What substances are represented by 1, 2, and 3? I'm very sure most of these are not lined up. But 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now let's explain, but I hope people will be able to help you answer this one because not to escape up. It's the same diagram. Either Monica, neither Monica, but they're representing one and the same thing. Yeah. So twice up as well. Now we want blood for you then. They've told us that blood is flowing in this direction.
Yes.
Take out blood to the punch up. Blood is being represented by these cells. Are we together? Two around 2 more blood cells. Are we together? And by the way, these can be red blood cells.
Yes.
What is the function of the red blood cells? To transport oxygen, eh?
Yes.
Where are they taking the oxygen? They are transporting oxygen, but where are they taking the oxygen? From where to where? From the lungs, very good, because in the lungs you breathe in oxygen. To where? You need to allow oxygen to the rest of the body. So, we cut tissue, the body cells. Are we together? That's where they're taking the oxygen. All right. So, number 1, or number 2? Number 2,
Glucose.
okay, number 1 can be glucose. Because obviously the red blood cells are not carrying glucose. They are carrying oxygen. Number 2, Nisha.
Sad number 1 carried.
Okay. Hey. Number 2, Nish. Let's start from number 2, then we go to number 1. Number 2? We said these are red blood cells. Yes. So what is 2?
Oxygen.
Very good. Moving from the red blood cells into the tissue. As simple as that. Number 3. Carbon dioxide. Are we together? Because it's moving from the body tissues. Remember, in the tissue cells, that's why respiration is taking place, not so. So the tissue cells are producing carbon dioxide. In the carbon dioxide, they are from the tissue cells into what? The blood. Are we together? Then in number 1, glucose. Glucose is from the blood. Remember the blood plasma. Discuss. Listen, the blood plasma contains nutrients such as glucose. And and amino acid. So hapana vikapoe mwone glucose. Yaingira mwana, that's why. Now, the reason why we suggested glucose is because inside the body tissue, there is a respiration taking place. Respiration, the reaction near glucose and oxygen, which produce carbon dioxide. I'm sure this is what they're talking about here. Are we together?
Yes.
So, we are done with today. Biology. Pretty much yes. Magazine. Just switch it off.
Come on,